170 million Americans use TikTok every single month. Then, the United States government told them to stop, and the Supreme Court said that was perfectly fine. The most downloaded app in the world, an app worth over $200 billion, an app that reshaped music, politics, commerce, and culture, was effectively banned by the country that invented the internet. And the story of how that happened is way stranger than you think. You're watching the fallen empire. To understand TikTok's death in America, you have to go back to a dorm room in China. Zhang Yiming was a software engineer who founded ByteDance in 2012. His first hit was Toutiao, a news aggregation app that used machine learning to figure out what you wanted to read before you knew you wanted to read it. The algorithm was unnervingly good. It studied your behavior, your scroll speed, what made you pause, what made you tap, and it built a profile of your desires more accurate than anything Facebook or Google had ever created. In 2016, ByteDance launched Douyin, the Chinese version of what the world would come to know as TikTok. Short videos, addictive algorithm, zero friction. It exploded. Then in 2017, ByteDance bought Musical.ly, a lip-syncing app popular with American teenagers for roughly $1 billion. They merged it into TikTok and launched internationally in 2018. But here's where it gets insane. TikTok didn't just grow, it detonated. Within 2 years, it had surpassed Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube in downloads. The algorithm was so precise, so addictive, that the average user spent 95 minutes per day on the app. 95 minutes. That is more time than people spent eating. Musicians were getting discovered overnight. Small businesses were going viral with zero ad spend. Political movements were organizing in real time. TikTok wasn't just an app. It was a new layer of reality for an entire generation. And Washington was terrified. The national security concerns were straightforward, at least on the surface. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, was headquartered in Beijing. Under Chinese law, specifically the 2017 National Intelligence Law, any Chinese company could be compelled to hand over data to the Chinese government. TikTok collected staggering amounts of user data, location, browsing history, keystroke patterns, biometric identifiers, clipboard contents. The fear was that the Chinese Communist Party could access the personal data of 170 million Americans, including military personnel, government employees, and intelligence officers. And that's not even the craziest part. TikTok swore up and down that American data was stored in the United States, not China. They launched Project Texas, a $1.5 billion initiative to store all U.S. user data on Oracle servers in Texas, with Oracle acting as a trusted technology partner. They offered unprecedented transparency. They offered to let the U.S. government inspect their algorithm. They offered everything short of selling the company outright. It wasn't enough. In 2020, President Trump issued an executive order banning TikTok unless ByteDance sold its U.S. operations. A deal with Oracle and Walmart was floated, fell apart, got revived, and fell apart again. Courts blocked Trump's ban as legally overreaching. TikTok survived, temporarily. Then the Biden administration took a different approach. Instead of executive orders, Congress passed the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act in April 2024. The law was elegant in its brutality. ByteDance had roughly 9 months to divest TikTok's U.S. operations to a non-Chinese buyer, or the app would be banned from American app stores and web hosting services. No downloads, no updates, no access. Now here's where this gets really interesting, because the ban wasn't just about data. Former U.S. officials admitted publicly what everyone already suspected. The deeper fear was algorithmic manipulation. TikTok's algorithm decided what 170 million Americans saw, what they thought about, what they cared about. In theory, the Chinese government could use that algorithm to amplify divisive content, suppress certain political messages, or shape American public opinion during an election. In 2022, Forbes reported that ByteDance employees in China had accessed the data of American journalists who were covering the company. TikTok fired the employees and called it an isolated incident. Nobody in Washington bought that. But here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The United States had no evidence that China had actually used TikTok for espionage or manipulation. The concern was that they could. The ban was preemptive, based on capability rather than action. Critics pointed out the hypocrisy. American tech companies collected far more data than TikTok and had demonstrably been used for political manipulation. But nobody was banning Facebook or Google. The difference, of course, was that Facebook and Google were American companies subject to American laws and American political pressure. TikTok fought back in court. They argued the ban violated the First Amendment, that it was an unconstitutional taking of property, that it punished a company for the sins of its home country. The case went all the way to the Supreme Court. In January 2025, the court ruled unanimously. The ban was constitutional. National security trumped free speech in this case. The government had a compelling interest in preventing a foreign adversary from controlling a dominant communications platform. So what happened next was chaos. TikTok went dark for American users on January 19, 2025. For approximately 14 hours, 170 million people lost access. Then President Trump, who had tried to ban TikTok in 2020, signed an executive order giving ByteDance an additional 75 days to complete a sale. The app came back online, but the message was clear. TikTok's future in America was not in TikTok's hands. The content creators were devastated. An entire economy had been built on TikTok. The influencer market on the platform was worth an estimated $15 billion annually. Small businesses that depended on TikTok for customer acquisition were suddenly facing extinction. Musicians who had built their careers through viral TikTok moments had no backup plan. Restaurants that went from empty to 3-hour waits because of a single viral TikTok video were watching their lifeline get cut. The platform had become infrastructure, and the government was threatening to demolish it. Now here's the human cost that the national security debate completely ignores. A generation of creators, many of them young people of color, many of them from working-class backgrounds, had built real livelihoods on TikTok. Not influencer vanity projects, real businesses. A single mother in Texas selling handmade candles. A veteran in Ohio teaching woodworking. A teenager in Georgia who paid for college through affiliate marketing. These people had no lobbyists, no political action committees, no senators taking their calls. They had an algorithm that, for once, rewarded creativity over connections. And that algorithm was about to be legislated out of existence. ByteDance, for its part, refused to sell. The Chinese government had made it clear that forcing a sale of TikTok's algorithm would be seen as an act of technological aggression. The algorithm was the product. Without it, TikTok was just another video app. Beijing would rather see TikTok banned in America than hand over its most sophisticated AI technology to an American buyer. And here's the final twist that nobody talks about. The real winners of the TikTok ban were not American citizens. They were American tech companies. Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts saw massive spikes in usage every time TikTok faced a ban threat. Meta spent millions lobbying for TikTok restrictions while publicly claiming to support free expression. The competitive dynamic was barely disguised. American tech giants wanted TikTok gone because they couldn't beat its algorithm, so they wrapped their business interests in the flag and called it national security. The losers were the 170 million Americans who used the app and the 7 million businesses that depended on it. The ban destroyed an estimated $300 billion in creator economy value. It set a precedent that the U.S. government could shut down a communications platform used by half its population based on theoretical risks. And it proved that in the 21st century, technology is geopolitics. And geopolitics doesn't care about your For You page. TikTok still exists outside the United States. Globally, it has over 1 billion users. ByteDance remains one of the most valuable private companies on Earth. Zhang Yiming, the quiet engineer who started it all, stepped down from ByteDance's leadership and largely disappeared from public life. One of the richest people in the world, presiding over an empire that's banned in its most lucrative market. But in America, the app that defined a generation, that launched careers and shaped elections and rewired human attention spans, became a casualty of the new Cold War between the United States and China. $200 billion in value, 170 million users, 7 million businesses. Gone. Not because TikTok did anything wrong, but because it could have. And in the halls of Congress, where the ban was debated, the irony was lost on everyone. America banned an app for threatening free expression by using the power of the state to suppress free expression. In the age of algorithmic warfare, possibility is enough. Subscribe to The Fallen Empire. Every empire has a story. Most have an ending.